a few things that I think we all should know about. And this is in the last, I would say, 24 hours that some of these things have kind of come to light. And this is what I'm talking about today: student loan repayment. If you are somebody who has a student loan, who maybe were able to take advantage of the Biden era sort of deferments that they put in place over the last like 24 hours, they have now come out from the Trump administration talking about how they are going to, for people who are in default on their student loans, that they are now able to garnish wages. This is a big deal, especially since the economy is pretty much in the tank and a lot of people just are living paycheck to paycheck. Raise your hand if you believe that this is going to impact you in the coming months. On May 5th is the day that everybody needs to look out for. And I put a little bit more of this information in my description of this live stream. So you can take a little bit more time to kind of review it. The first thing that I think you should do is what I did last night. And I went right into my student loans and I looked at the status. If you can look at the status of your student loans and see what status they are in, this is going to help you in moving forward. Hey everybody, if you're just joining me, leave a comment and tell me where you are logging in from. I love to know where you're actually viewing from and what's going on in your world today. Today I'm talking about student loan garnishments of wages. This is a big deal because the federal government, yes, they can actually go into your bank account and take that money and you will never see that money. And they can actually petition your employer too, to get that money before the employer actually ever, I believe, sends it out. So I know that that is a big deal for a lot of people, and it will impact, I believe, 5 million people who were taking advantage of that sort of Biden era rule. I think that was happening during kind of post-COVID, that, you know, you weren't responsible for paying that during the, because there were so many people. Hey, infinite divine light. Oh, that's so amazing. It's very refreshing to see that in the morning. Los Angeles, hey. Okay, so what part? So I'm over here in kind of like East Hollywood area. Los Angeles is a big city, so you got to let me know what part of Los Angeles you are joining me from. A lot of people were taking advantage of this because people were dealing with like rent situations, like when people during COVID couldn't pay rent and, you know, they were getting evicted and there were all these sort of protections that were being put into place. Oh, Reseda. I feel like the only time I've ever really gone over to Reseda is, I think there's a strawberry festival over there. I'm not sure. I think that's when I've kind of gone out that way. So there's a lot of people who are kind of taking advantage of that because people were kind of getting evicted left and right. There were a lot of state protections that were kind of being put in place for people, and they weren't responsible for their student loans during that period of time. Those are basically going away with this announcement yesterday, May 5th. They're not giving people very much time. So today is April, what, 22nd? So get everybody's ducks in a row because they have kind of, I think there's another thing as far as like income-based repayment plans. If you are on the studentloan.gov site, there used to be this sort of income-based repayment plans that is now sort of, they have this sort of injunction going on and it's in the courts and it's not resolved. Okay, so there's a lot of people kind of in limbo as to what that is going to be after that is resolved with the courts. So right now they're basically just tackling the people who are already in default. And then I believe we're going to move on to how they're going to tackle whether or not they're going to allow people to have income-based repayment plans after that. And mind you, they haven't really set up anything saying what happened to the education department. Like they basically are just looking at where are we going to get the money from the people. They haven't actually done very much with the sort of semantics of what happened to the people that were taking care of all that stuff. So I have no idea what's going to happen with the rest of it. I just know that this is what they have announced so far. So May 5th, the first thing that you should do, go to your student loan service provider, whomever that is, and figure out what your status is. So let's get into a few of the other headlines before we go. There are a few this morning that I wanted to tackle because why not? And this is the first one. Okay, so we talked about some strategies the other day with the Democratic Party. David Hogg is talking about primarying some of these people who are ineffective. But I saw this headline and I had to stop. Charles Barkley to Dems. Run either of these two candidates or lose my support. Now, I'm not sure if you're a big Charles Barkley fan, but this is not the person, for me particularly, that I get my political opinions from. Okay. And you can for sure get your political opinions from him. But I thought that this was interesting that we are not in like the moment of voting right now. So, but he's definitely throwing his weight of being a host on a very well liked, popular programming with the NBA, right? For basketball. And he's like, look, these are the two that I want. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that the people that he wants, hey, Vivian, how are you? The people that he wants are bad. But it's an interesting article that he's going to throw two names into the ring. Governor Josh Shapiro of Maryland and Governor Wes Moore. Now, I think it's interesting because he's like, if you don't pick these two, I'm not voting for any. Like, it's kind of a far stretch because at the end of the day, if you are trying to support a party that has to topple, Donald Trump, like, and his minions, I would say, yeah, we're going to go with the people that are, having the most energy, the most momentum, I would say the power in numbers, not just, hey, if it's not these two, I'm not going to whatever. But I thought I would bring this up because if you get your political opinions from sports icons, good for you. But this is not mine. And not to say that those two aren't valid candidates. It's just the kind of positioning that he was putting in there that I was just like, it's a little too early to just count everybody out besides those two candidates. All right. This is another one that I wanted to bring up. Infinite Divine says he is not it. I mean, he has a lot of backing, a lot of support, and he was a good player. So, All right, this one is from Bloomberg. It says, parents counting on 529 plans to pay for college feel the market pain. Yes, there is a little bit of a market rally today. We'll see how it shakes up toward the end of today, but yesterday it started out 1,000 points down. But 529 plans, I thought this was interesting because I used to be an admissions advisor and we would talk with parents and relatives of students who were trying to figure out how they were going to get the money for college. And we would always ask, oh, well, did you already, have you had a 529 plan for your student? This has been something that a lot of people have used for a very long time to save for college. I'm not sure after the stocks have been shaken up, how much money people have lost from those 529 plans. If you had one, or if you are building one for your son or daughter, or even for somebody else's child that is in your family, let me know in the comments because I'm very curious to see how those market shifts up and down and kind of this flip-flop with trade has kind of manipulated the stock market for Donald Trump and his administration, how that has affected you and your 529 plan. So leave a comment, even if you're watching this on a replay. I would love to know if that has affected you. And definitely like this live stream if this is something that is benefiting you for just knowledge base or even just, cultural context. All right, let's talk about this one. We just said, oh, I misspoke. I thought it was 5 million. It is 10 million. Student loan borrowers face imminent wage garnishment as collection efforts resume. So this was on Forbes this morning. If you haven't seen it, I'm trying to bring it to you so that you are not blindsided. If you were already in default, this is going to affect you. And this is kind of I'm going to get out of the way so you can kind of see. Major collection efforts against millions of defaulted federal student loan borrowers will be resuming in a matter of weeks. So do not delay in figuring out your status of your student loans. This was on CNN and I wanted to bring it to you because they have kind of compiled a list of kind of front runners for who is going to become the next pope. Pope Francis died the day after Easter Sunday. So that was, I believe, in the middle of the night. He had like a stroke and everybody is in mourning. They've put his body on display with an open casket at this point. But if you haven't figured out like the sort of next steps of what happens with the next pope, the conclave is what happens next. And this is a sort of list that CNN kind of put together of who they think are the front runners to become the next pope during that process that they vote during the conclave. So I'm going to just step out of the way here so you can kind of see Cardinal Pietro Parolin, and I hope I'm saying his name right. He is 70, and I believe that you can only vote for the next pope if you are 80 or younger. I think there's like an age limit for the people who can actually vote. He is 70. He's from Italy. I'm just going to show you the people that are in this list. The next one is Cardinal Matteo Zuppi from Bologna. From Italy, he's 69. The next one is Cardinal Luis Antonio Tagle from the Philippines. He is 67. Ooh, I just dropped some papers. The next one is Cardinal Pablo Virgilio Singonco David. I'm hoping I'm saying this person's name right. He is also from the Philippines. He is 66 years old. And then we have Cardinal Gerald Cyprien Lacroix, and he is 67 from Canada. So I think he's probably Quebecois because he is he's the Archbishop of Quebec. Another one, Cardinal Fridolin Mbongo Besungu from Congo. He is 65. The next one is actually from the United States, Cardinal Joseph Tobin. He is the Archbishop of Newark, 72 years old. All right. Another one, Cardinal Robert Prevost, Prefect of the Vatican Dicastery for Bishops. He is also a U.S. Cardinal, and he is 69. Another one, Cardinal Tarcisius Isao Kikuchi, I think is how you say his name, and he is from Japan, and he is 66. There are, I think, 4 more. Cardinal Michael Zerny from Canada, he is 78. Another one, Cardinal Cristobal Lopez Romero from Morocco, he's from Spain, 72 years old. Cardinal Jean-Claude Oleric from Luxembourg, he is 66. And the last one that they have on their list for CNN is Cardinal Peter Erdo from Budapest, from Hungary, and he is 72. So I'm not quite sure how those will shake out because they vote and vote and vote and vote and vote until they have the next pope. And when it comes down to it, clearly they have a system and it has worked for them for years and years and years. Obviously, they are probably looking for a leader, someone who has the skill set. There are only a few cardinals who actually have that skill set to actually become the pope. So it's an interesting place to be in time. This is the next one that I wanted to tackle for today, and it's the last one, which is RFK Jr. plans to phase out artificial food dyes in the U.S. Biden started this sort of process. It took a long, long time to get that red food dye, I think it was number 3 or number whatever, out of the food system. It was something that was known to have, I believe, caused cancer. So he's kind of getting into the same kind of ring. I don't know how effective it will be, but obviously this one I am in agreement with. Let's get all of this sort of artificialness out of the food supply. It's why Europe, I mean, when we went to France, the food was so much better because it didn't have all that junk in it, right? So hopefully this will keep on going. I will see you guys tomorrow. And if you want to join me on my Substack Live, join me tonight. I always do one Monday through Friday, YouTube Live in the morning and Substack Live in the evening. You can find my Substack in the description of this live stream. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye.